people love to change the narrative just so that they can, push the shit that they want to be heard out. And one of them is John Jones ducking Tom Aspinall, and I'm just saying that's not true. See, the thing about it is that if it was, see, the thing is that like people are saying that he wants to fight Stipe for an easy fight. Like, bro, Stipe himself literally said he was going to fight the winner of Gain and Jones. And when he said that, nobody checked him. Nobody like, no, you're not going to do that. No, nobody checked him. Nobody. And so, the fight goes on. They agree to it. And, prior to Tom winning the interim championship, which was the same day that Jones and Steve Perry were supposed to fight, prior to that, Jones got injured. I mean, before he got injured, before all that, like he was, Dana said that he went silent and all this, and then Jones came back. He started talking shit to Stipe on Twitter, and he was considering retirement after he fought Stipe. And I'm like, man, who didn't really see that coming? But anyways, when Aspinall won the IC, he knocked out Sergey Pavlovich in the first round. That's when the John Jones haters all started to rejoice, because you have to remember when John Jones first went to heavyweight and they said he was going to have to fight Cyril Gane, people were like, oh, Cyril Gane's going to knock him out, he's going to outstrike him, all this and that. And then, Cyril Gane taps within under a minute going into the fight. And then, so this makes them desperate again, and they have to find somebody who was capable to beat Jones. Because if there's anything, like, they really want to see John Jones get knocked out before he retires. And, at first they were riding on Pavlovich, but, well, actually, this is how it goes. See, most of these John Jones haters are actually casuals. So this is why they weren't hyping up Aspinall from the jump. And, they always start hyping up Pavlovich because he had a good string of first-round knockouts. And then eventually he got knocked out in the first round. And when he got knocked out in the first round, that's when everybody jumped off of his train and jumped on the Aspinall train. And, people wonder why we're at this point where it seems like these fighters are forgotten or they disappeared. They didn't. The hype train switched to another fighter, and that's all that happened. And now, after Aspinall knocked out Blaze, everybody, they're so sure that he's going to do that to John Jones. And my thing is that, like, John Jones has, like, the highest IQ in combat sports history. Like, you really think that John Jones is going to fight Tom in the area that he's strongest in? Like, that's the problem. Like, they're so hell-bent on seeing John Jones lose. And my thing is that, like, if John Jones beats Tom Aspinall, they are literally going to be so desperate that they're, at this point, they're not going to be able to find any other fighter that can beat John Jones. If he fights Tom Aspinall and beats him, he literally solidified his status among, the people who don't like him. And they have nothing to say to that. Of course, they're going to try to find another person to beat him, but Tom Aspinall right now is, like, pretty much the biggest threat that he could take, and they're not going to be able to find nobody else that can beat him. So besides that, like, as I said, like, Jones already considered retirement and all that before Aspinall, and again, Aspinall knocks out Pavlovich, becomes the interim champion. And when this was during the time when Jones was injured, Tom Aspinall, he comes in, he starts to demand the interim, not interim, he starts to demand the title fight with Jones while he was injured. And I'm like, okay, why didn't he do this when Jones was healthy? I'll never understand. Like, if he did this when Jones was healthy, then a lot of things would have made sense. But the thing is that like he did while he was injured and he was recovering, and considering that John Jones haters so desperately want to see him knocked out, they they damn, what's that word? I forgot what I was gonna say. Considering that they desperately wanted to see him knocked out, they gave Tom more leverage to they gave him more leverage in social media and all that. And so eventually it came to a point where people started to say that he was ducking him. And my thing is that like he already agreed to fight Stipe. He already considered retirement and all that before Tom even won the interim championship. And it's because everything was literally said before Tom won the interim championship. That's not ducking to me. See, what is ducking is what Canelo is doing with David Benavidez. But, besides that, like, that's the only way I can see it. Canelo literally just got stripped of some titles because he was ducking. And, he's fighting these guys that nobody really wants to see him fight. And, it's not as heavy as people do it with John Jones because, obviously they hate John Jones. Like, Canelo is literally ducking, and nobody is calling it out as much as, people who hate John Jones. I mean, the other way around, but whatever. And to me, that is ducking. I get him saying that he doesn't want to fight Mexicans, but at the same time, like, damn near every Mexican is a boxer. So you're going to fight a Mexican. That makes no sense. And anyways, besides that, like, the point I'm making is that John Jones was never dunking Aspinall. And, after he beat Blades, everybody's like, oh, John is so scared. Oh, John's going to retire. I mean, he may real retire because he literally said that before Tom was the interim champion. Like, they just want to push their own narrative that Jones is scared and ducking Aspinall, but they're ignoring the facts that came along with it. And it's because of that you can clearly see how much they hate Jones, and it's on a personal level. And again, if Jones proved them wrong, they're not going to be able to say anything. Here's the thing. One thing you have to take note of is that it's because John Jones said that he was retiring. That's the reason why people want to rush him fighting Aspinall. That's why they want him to fight Aspinall now. Now, before they realize what he was actually about, nobody was complaining about Jones fighting Stipe. But as soon as Aspinall comes into the picture, this is what they're saying. Oh, nobody wants to see John Jones fight a 50-year-old fireman. We want to see him fight Aspinall. John Jones is all that nonsense. Like, everything that I said came from what I've seen ever since Jones became a champion, all the way to, Aspinall being Curtis Blades. Now, I will admit, watching the replay to that Blades fight, what really happened was that right hand never actually connected with Blades. Aspinall knocked him off balance, and then Blades fell into a position where he was fought. There's nothing he could do. But, I mean, I did think that right hand cracked him. I thought that's what happened, but instead, like, he just fell off balance and all that nonsense. Which is why at the end of the fight, he was looking so depressed and shit. But yeah, the typical Jones hater or Aspinall fan is going to be like, oh, Aspinall's right hand connected and knocked him out, all that nonsense. But anyways, like, you can take it how you want it, but I mean, you can't convince them. They're just going to keep doing the same thing. Like, I mean, again, even if John Jones beats Tom Aspinall, they're going to double down on everything. But the first thing that they're going to do is be quiet because, again, besides Aspinall, they can't really find anybody else to beat John Jones. And at that very moment, They are going to be quiet until somebody presents themselves as somewhat of a threat. But obviously, they're going to bring up the PEDs and his past fights, like that's relevant to his current situation, but whatever. But that's just how they work. They are, their minds are programmed to hate John Jones. And my thing is that, like, you can only hate somebody so much until you do it in a way to a point where you're a fan of this fire that you hate so much at this point. And that's exactly what they are. See, when he fights Aspinall, like, a lot of people are going to buy tickets to see that. But what they don't know is that they're actually supporting John Jones more than anything. His haters are actually his supporters. That's the funny thing, because they care so much about him losing that they're actually supporting him. Like, that's the thing that they don't pay no attention to, but whatever. Anyways, outside of Aspinall fighting Blaze, like, that's the only fight that I watched. I didn't bother watching any of these other fights. I knew that this was going to be a boring card. Like, I had no intention of watching anything. But, besides that, like, I mean, again, Jones may retire after he beats Stipe, but he retracted that statement, like, not too long ago when he said depending on his performance against Stipe, he may or may not retire. So if he has a good performance, he will fight Aspinall. If he has a bad performance, he's going to retire. But again, the typical John Jones hater, they're going to take that whole saying away, and they're just going to be like, oh, John's just going to dug Aspinall. Like, that's all they want to do. They just want to push Aspinall. But my thing is that, like, I don't know how they're going to treat Aspinall if John Jones does retire, because, I mean, besides saying that he had ran away from Aspinall, which they're obviously going to say, I don't really know what else, they're going to do. But I just want to say one more thing. Tom Aspinall is the MMA version of Tyson Fury. Nobody really cared about these fighters until the people who hate the other fighters are their fans. That's pretty much all it is. And then eventually they came to see how unlikable Tyson Fury was, which is why they turned against him. A lot of these guys didn't even know who Tyson Fury was until he was fighting until he beat Deontay Wilder. And that's when they got on his hype train, for some time in his career, until they realized that he wasn't really a likable guy. I'm not saying that him and Aspinall act alike. I'm just saying, like, it's just the same situation with people who hate the other fighter boosting this fighter, becoming fans of this fighter, just so that he could beat the fighter that they hate. Like, that's all it is, bro. Just bandwagon. They don't want to admit it, but that's exactly what a bandwagon is.